There's something deeply timeless about Spanish colonial architecture. Rooted in history yet effortlessly adaptable, it speaks with a voice that's both warm and grounded. From its origins in 16th-century Spanish settlements to its enduring presence across the Americas, the style continues to resonate with homeowners who seek both character and comfort. Why does it still inspire us today? Perhaps it's the materials, the natural textures of white stucco, the cool red clay tiles beneath bare feet, the comforting weight of heavy wooden doors. These are elements that age gracefully, gaining soul and warmth with every passing year. They feel lived in, human, and honest, something many modern homes are missing. Spanish colonial design doesn't chase trends, it tells stories. Every archway, every wrought iron detail, every thick adobe wall feels intentional, even poetic. It offers more than aesthetics, it offers atmosphere. Spaces feel quieter, airier, even sacred. That's something rare in contemporary design. Yet, the beauty of Spanish colonial lies not just in its history, but in its flexibility. Today, more and more homeowners are blending these old-world details into modern layouts, creating homes that feel rooted without feeling heavy. It's not about nostalgia, it's about grounding our modern lives in something timeless. Imagine walking through a minimalist home where one perfectly arched hallway opens up into a sun-washed courtyard, or a sleek modern kitchen that keeps its warmth through wooden beam ceilings and terracotta accents. This is the blend, respectful, intentional, and deeply personal. And it works especially well in one-story homes. The horizontal sprawl gives room for open courtyards, tiled verandas, and generous sightlines that let light and shadow dance across textured walls. It's a stage where modern minimalism and historical craftsmanship perform side by side. We live in a time where personalization is everything. The spaces we inhabit are no longer just shelters, they are expressions of who we are. And Spanish colonial gives us a language to speak warmth, texture, and depth into even the most modern homes. In this video, we'll explore how to bring that language to life, one detail at a time. Whether you're renovating, building, or just dreaming, the essence of Spanish colonial might be exactly what your home and your soul needs. To understand Spanish colonial design, you have to look closely at the materials and the forms. This isn't a style built on decoration, it's built on essence. Every element serves a purpose. Every texture holds history. Start at the top. The red clay roof tiles, curved, heavy, sun-baked, are more than just iconic. They're practical too, cooling the home and deflecting heat. Their layered silhouette instantly anchors a house in a timeless, Mediterranean aesthetic. Then come the walls, thick stucco, often painted in shades of white or cream, with a hand-troweled finish that feels earthy and human. These walls aren't perfect, and that's the point. They feel honest, warm, and substantial, catching light and shadow in soft, painterly ways. One of the most defining elements is the arch. In doorways, windows, and corridors, the arch is used not just for function, but to create rhythm and intimacy in the architecture. It softens the structure, makes space feel sacred, and draws the eye through a journey. Wood also plays a crucial role: dark, exposed ceiling beams that contrast with white plaster, carved doors with centuries-old craftsmanship, and heavy furniture that anchors a room. These wooden elements give weight and warmth to the space, grounding modern minimalism in tradition. Iron is another signature. Wrought iron railings, lanterns, and decorative grilles add a sense of artistry and resilience. With swirling motifs or clean geometric patterns, these forged elements add contrast to the softness of stucco and the roughness of wood. And let's not forget tile. Spanish colonial interiors often feature hand-painted ceramic tiles, especially talavera. These tiles bring color and pattern into entryways, fireplaces, stair risers, and kitchen backsplashes, injecting life and a handcrafted feel into every corner. Altogether, these materials form a visual language: red clay, white plaster, dark wood, black iron, and colorful tile. It's a palette that feels timeless, warm, tactile, and deeply rooted in the past. As we move through this video, we'll explore how to bring these elements into your own home, blending them with modern sensibilities to create something fresh yet familiar. Modern one-story homes are built on the idea of simplicity, openness, and flow. With no staircases to interrupt movement, these homes create seamless transitions between rooms and between interior and exterior. It's a layout that encourages ease in living, in entertaining, and in design. One of the greatest strengths of a one-story layout is its connection to the outdoors. Sliding glass doors, wraparound patios, and expansive windows allow the landscape to become part of the living experience. It's a canvas of light and openness that makes every square meter feel bigger and brighter. Open floor plans dominate the modern single-story approach. Living, dining, and kitchen areas often share a unified space, maximizing flexibility and eliminating barriers. This makes for a social, adaptable home, but it also creates a design challenge. How do you define spaces without walls? Another strength lies in accessibility. No stairs mean the home is more inclusive for children, the elderly, or anyone seeking a more comfortable living experience. From a practical standpoint, everything is within reach, but the risk is that things can also feel flat or uniform if not handled thoughtfully. The lack of vertical layering means every design choice carries more visual weight. A flat roofline, a long hallway, a blank wall, these are moments that can either fall flat or become defining features of the home. That's where Spanish colonial elements can offer depth and texture. At the same time, one-story homes often come with tighter horizontal space. That limits opportunities for vertical drama: no double-height ceilings, no balconies, no grand staircases. But it also pushes us to get creative with surfaces, materials, and transitions. Lighting becomes a key player. Skylights, clerestory windows, and carefully placed artificial lighting can dramatically affect how modern interiors feel throughout the day. Because there are fewer architectural layers to play with, light must do more of the heavy lifting. In this section, we've looked at the canvas. The modern one-story layout gives us openness, flow, and flexibility, but it also demands intention. As we blend in Spanish colonial influences, we'll use this open foundation to introduce contrast, warmth, and a sense of timeless rootedness. Merging styles isn't about compromise, it's about creating a dialogue. When blending Spanish colonial with modern design, the goal isn't to erase one or dilute the other. It's to let both voices be heard, clearly and confidently. The key is to establish a visual theme that respects contrast. You're not matching, you're balancing. For example, the clean lines and open spaces of modern design create the perfect canvas for more textured, historic elements. A sleek, minimalist sofa feels grounded against a backdrop of hand-troweled stucco. Start by choosing a dominant language. Will your space lean more contemporary, with subtle Spanish touches? Or will it feel rooted in Spanish colonial warmth, with modern flourishes added for lightness and simplicity? This decision will guide every material, every silhouette, every lighting choice. Look for opportunities to overlap without forcing symmetry. A modern kitchen island can sit beside a wall of handcrafted tile. A streamlined pendant light can hang from a ceiling supported by centuries-old wood beams. This is where tension becomes beauty. Color is another bridge. Spanish colonial palettes favor earth tones, ochre, terracotta, warm whites, dark wood. Modern palettes often stick to cool neutrals and monochromes. To blend them, find grounding tones both styles can share. Creamy whites, matte black, or warm gray can serve as connective tissue. Lighting plays a huge role. Spanish colonial lighting is warm, intimate, think sconces and lanterns. Modern lighting is often architectural and clean. Using both gives you depth, recessed lighting for clarity, iron fixtures for ambience. Layer them with purpose. One powerful technique is to isolate bold elements. Don't overdo Spanish tiles in every room, let them shine in one feature wall or niche. Likewise, don't allow minimalism to make the home feel sterile, balance sleekness with texture and warmth. Establishing a visual theme is about setting tone and rhythm. Like a song, your home should have moments of boldness and restraint, of structure and softness. By blending Spanish colonial with modern elements thoughtfully, you're not just designing a home, you're telling a story of time, taste, and intention. The entryway is more than a passage, it's a statement. It's the handshake of the home, the first impression that whispers, or sometimes declares, what's inside. When blending Spanish colonial style into a modern layout, the front door becomes one of the most powerful places to begin. Spanish colonial doors are rich with character. Heavy wood, often arched, sometimes hand-carved, and always textured with age and purpose. They're not just functional, they're sculptural. Add wrought iron accents like hinges, studs, or a decorative grille, and suddenly you've turned a wall into a monument. These bold entrances tell a story before you ever step inside. The materials speak of craftsmanship. The design hints at history. Even if the rest of the home is modern and minimal, the door can introduce depth, a piece of the past anchoring the present. For modern homes, this fusion works beautifully. A clean, white plaster facade sets the stage for a richly detailed wooden door. The contrast becomes part of the appeal. Terracotta tile steps or minimalist lantern lighting can frame the entrance, blending old and new in one bold gesture. You can go subtle too. Not every entry needs to be massive or ornate. A modern door with an arched frame, matte finish, and clean iron detailing can still evoke the Spanish colonial mood. What matters is intention. Every element, every curve, every material has to feel considered. And it doesn't end at the threshold. The interior side of the entryway can continue the story. A niche in the wall. A rustic console table. A lantern light casting warm shadows across the floor. These small cues help the transition feel cohesive and immersive. Even a simple gravel path or low adobe wall can guide visitors toward the door in a way that feels rooted in tradition. Add natural elements, a flowering vine, a clay pot, textured stone, and the entire approach becomes a sensory experience. Entryways are where design becomes narrative. And when you start with Spanish colonial soul at the door, you create a powerful invitation, one that blends memory, culture, and identity before you've even said a word. Windows are the eyes of a home, and in Spanish colonial design, those eyes are shaped by centuries of tradition. The arch isn't just a stylistic flourish, it's a functional form that brings light in gently, frames views like artwork, and softens the geometry of space. Arched windows and doorways give Spanish colonial architecture its unmistakable silhouette. They're sculptural, elegant, and human. Unlike sharp, modern right angles, arches suggest passage, movement, even ritual. They evoke an old-world sense of presence, quiet, sturdy, and timeless. Incorporating arches into a modern one-story home can completely shift the tone of a room. A series of clean, symmetrical arches along a hallway adds rhythm. A single arched opening between living and dining spaces creates intimacy. And even a modern glass wall can take on historical warmth when framed within a soft, curving arch. Windows, too, become more than light sources, they become moments of texture and storytelling. A small window with a deep sill and wooden shutters becomes a cozy corner. A tall arched window floods the space with warm daylight, casting soft shadows across textured stucco walls. In Spanish colonial homes, windows are often smaller and strategically placed to manage sunlight, preserve privacy, and encourage airflow. When merging this with modern design, which loves big, expansive glass, the balance is key. Consider a large glass door framed in an arch, or clerestory windows shaped like half-moons. It's about using the form to add soul to the light. Ironwork often accompanies windows in this style. Grills, balcony railings, and decorative scrollwork turn windows into focal points. Inside, these elements filter light in beautiful ways, creating moving patterns across floors and walls throughout the day. You don't need dozens of arches to make a statement. One well-placed arch, above a doorway, over a bathtub, framing a garden, can bring that old-world softness into even the most modern structure. It's about contrast and intentionality. Windows and arches aren't just architectural features, they're characters in the story of your home. They shape how light enters, how space breathes, and how the home feels across time. Spanish colonial design teaches us to let those shapes speak. When we think of walls, we often think of blank space. But in Spanish colonial design, walls are never just background, they're an active part of the aesthetic, full of texture, depth, and tactile history. Start with stucco. The hand-troweled kind. Uneven, imperfect, alive. Stucco walls in Spanish colonial homes aren't flat or uniform, they catch the light in ways that plasterboard never could. Every curve, every ripple becomes a canvas for shadow and sun. Then there's brick and adobe. Exposed or partially covered with whitewash, these materials offer a rustic honesty. They connect the home to the earth, literally and visually. Their rough texture plays beautifully against smoother modern surfaces like polished concrete or steel. Tile is another iconic material. Not the sterile kind, but bold, hand-painted talavera tiles. Used sparingly, they create visual punctuation. A kitchen backsplash, a stair riser, a bathroom niche. These tiles add color, culture, and a handcrafted soul to your space. Modern homes tend to favor smooth, minimal surfaces. But when we layer in historic materials like reclaimed wood, natural stone, or rough plaster, we bring in warmth and weight. A room starts to feel grounded, human, and real. Contrast is key. Try pairing a clean white wall with a raw, clay-toned surface. Or place sleek, modern furniture in front of a rustic, time-worn backdrop. These tensions don't clash, they enhance each other. The old gives soul, the new gives clarity. Lighting completes the effect. The way shadows move across textured walls changes with the day, soft in the morning, dramatic at dusk. Wall-mounted lanterns or indirect lighting can accentuate every curve and crack, transforming material into atmosphere. In a blended home, materials are your storytellers. They whisper of place, memory, and craftsmanship. And when you let them lead, when you give walls the same attention as furniture or layout, you create spaces that feel intentional, timeless, and deeply alive. Interior decor is where your home's soul comes to life. It's where personality shows up, not just in what you choose, but in how you blend it all together. When marrying Spanish colonial with modern design, furniture and accessories carry a lot of the weight. Start with the basics. Spanish colonial furniture is bold, solid, and grounded. Think dark carved wood, hand-forged iron, and pieces that feel substantial. These elements anchor a room, giving it presence and weight. Even a single vintage console table can shift the energy of an entire space. But contrast is your friend. A low modern sofa in natural linen placed beside a heavy wood coffee table creates a compelling visual rhythm. Light against dark. Soft against hard. Clean forms beside ornate ones. This is how tension becomes beauty. Accessories bring detail and nuance. Wrought iron lamps, ceramic vases, vintage mirrors, and handmade pottery, these small choices add layers. Nothing should feel too perfect. Spanish Colonial style celebrates the handmade, the aged, the slightly uneven. Lighting matters deeply. Lantern-style fixtures, sconces, or a chandelier with iron arms can shift a room's entire mood. Combine them with modern lighting solutions, soft recessed lights or minimal pendants, to create layers of brightness and shadow that evolve throughout the day. Textiles are another key player. Think woven rugs, patterned pillows, wool throws, or even a wall tapestry. Keep the color palette earthy, clay reds, ochres, muted blues, and creamy whites to tie together both the Spanish and modern tones. Don't forget the power of open space. Spanish colonial interiors often feel curated, not crowded. Leave breathing room around key pieces. Let textures stand out. Let the light do some of the decorating. This restraint lets both styles speak without shouting over each other. In the end, decorating is where the story becomes personal. It's where history meets habit. Where a centuries-old cabinet holds your modern speakers. Where a hand-painted tile frames your mirror selfie. It's not about purism, it's about authenticity, emotion, and living with style that has both roots and vision. Outdoor spaces are where the Spanish colonial spirit truly breathes. These homes were designed around courtyards, patios, and terraces, not just as afterthoughts, but as central gathering places. Integrating this ethos into your modern one-story home brings balance, serenity, and connection to nature. The courtyard is a signature element. Enclosed by walls yet open to the sky, it becomes a sanctuary of light and calm. A central fountain with the sound of trickling water, terracotta tiles underfoot, stucco walls around you, this is architecture that invites reflection. Patios in the Spanish colonial tradition are earthy and grounded. They use natural materials, stone, wood, clay. A simple pergola draped in bougainvillea or grapevine brings shade and softness. Furnishings are relaxed but intentional: ironwork chairs, woven cushions, lanterns that flicker at dusk. A terrace offers the opportunity for views, light, and open air. Even a small rooftop space can channel Spanish charm with whitewashed walls, rustic seating, and clay pottery. Add modern touches with minimalist furniture or built-in seating wrapped in natural textiles. Lighting turns these spaces into something magical. Wall sconces in aged iron, candlelit alcoves, string lights above dining tables, all offer warmth and intimacy when the sun goes down. Let the glow be gentle and golden, never harsh. Plants are essential, but thoughtfully chosen. Olive trees in oversized clay pots. Lavender in planter beds. Cactus and succulents in mosaic planters. Let the textures and forms of your landscaping echo the rugged elegance of the architecture. Textures matter just as much outdoors as they do inside. Aged stone under your feet, rough stucco on the walls, reclaimed wood beams above, these elements weather beautifully and grow more soulful with time. This is a style that welcomes age, not resists it. By framing your outdoor space with intention, you extend your home's personality beyond its walls. Whether it's morning coffee in a sunlit courtyard or dinner under stars on a tiled terrace, these moments define how your space feels to live in. Spanish colonial architecture knew this well. And blending it with modern living keeps that wisdom alive. Lighting in a Spanish colonial-inspired home isn't just about visibility, it's about evoking emotion. The interplay of shadows and glow is what brings these spaces to life, casting stories into corners and warmth onto walls. Start with architectural lighting. Wrought iron chandeliers with Edison-style bulbs give off a golden, nostalgic glow, perfect for large living spaces with exposed wood beams and textured walls. These fixtures anchor the ceiling and bring visual weight and warmth to the room. Wall sconces are essential. In Spanish colonial design, they do more than light the way, they sculpt it. Mounted against plaster or stucco, their glow is diffused, creating shadows that emphasize texture and form. Choose designs that echo wrought iron or aged brass, and keep the tone warm and muted. Natural light should always be celebrated. Arched windows framed with light linen or gauzy drapes let daylight filter in gently. It's not about flooding the room, but about soft highlights dancing on terracotta floors, stone walls, and carved wood furniture. In modern interpretations, layering light sources is key. Combine overhead fixtures with under-cabinet LEDs in the kitchen, or use floor-level lighting along hallways to guide without overpowering. Let modern function quietly support the Spanish form. Candlelight remains a timeless detail. Clustered in niches, set along a dining table, or placed inside lanterns on a terrace, it connects you to centuries of tradition. The soft flicker complements the raw textures and creates a sense of intimacy in any space. Outdoors, lighting is everything. From hanging string lights above a courtyard to embedded ground lighting on a terrace, these touches frame the evening experience. They transform ordinary evenings into rituals, welcoming, grounding, serene. Lighting is the thread that ties style to feeling. A Spanish colonial modern home should never feel sterile or overlit. Instead, it should glow, softly, deliberately, like a sunset held just a little longer. With thoughtful placement and warm tones, lighting becomes the final brushstroke in your home's character. Designing with Spanish colonial inspiration isn't about copying a style, it's about capturing a feeling. That feeling of warmth, permanence, and soulful imperfection that defines this architectural language. As we've seen, the strength of this style lies in its honest materials: wood, clay, stone, and iron. These elements create spaces that feel lived in and grounded. When thoughtfully layered with modern sensibilities, clean lines, open plans, subtle minimalism, they result in homes that are both nostalgic and current. There's something quietly cinematic about a Spanish colonial home at golden hour. Light hits the whitewashed walls just so, timber beams cast shadows across tiled floors, and greenery spills over old ironwork. This isn't a look that tries too hard. It simply exists with character and grace. A key lesson in merging this old-world charm with modern life is restraint. Choose your materials with intention. Use fewer but more meaningful pieces. Let texture, not clutter, define the atmosphere. A simple bench with a clay pot. A wall niche with a single sculpture. This is where timeless design lives. Even the smallest corner can become a sanctuary. A reading nook by an arched window. A sunlit desk with hand-woven swatches and tile samples. These micro-moments become the soul of the home, reflecting the people who live there and the stories they gather. Outdoor spaces play an equally vital role. Spanish colonial design thrives in courtyards and terraces. A tiled fountain under the stars. A wrought iron chair beside potted herbs. These spaces invite pause and presence, qualities we too often forget to design for. In the end, this style doesn't shout. It whispers. Through texture, through shadow, through age and craft. Whether you're restoring an old villa or designing a modern home with historic references, the principles remain the same: warmth, intention, and soul. Let your space evolve. Collect, edit, refine. Let the light guide you. And above all, design with meaning, not just for aesthetics, but for how you want to feel each day. That is the true essence of timeless architecture.